Will the Senate please come to order? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Aquino, Senator Awa, Senator Chang, Senator DeCoit, Senator DeCourt,
Here.
Senator Dela Cruz, Senator Elefante,
Here.
Senator Favela, Senator Fukunaga, Senator Gabbard, Senator Hashimoto, Senator Ihara,
Present.
Senator Inoue,
Present.
Senator Kanuha, Senator Keoho Kalole, Senator Kidani, Senator Kim, Senator Lee, Senator McKelvey, Senator Moriwaki,
Present.
Senator Rhodes, Senator Richards,
Here.
Senator San Buenaventura, Senator Wakai. Mr. President,
Present.
all 25 members are present.
Thank you. The chair has read the journal of the preceding day and approves the same. Are there any introductions this morning? Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Long list of introductions today. As you can see, the gallery is pretty full. I just want to welcome Every Town for Mom's Demand Action. Every Town for Gun Safety and Mom's Demand Action are here. I think most of you are behind me. If you'd like to stand and be recognized. Also wanted to recognize Sarah Sumati, the Director of Government Affairs for Western Regions for Every Town for Gun Safety Action Fund. I think you're here somewhere. Well, maybe not. Oh, yeah, there. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Also, Chris Marvin, the National Veteran Head Lead for Every Town for Gun Safety, former Army officer and combat wounded veteran of the Afghanistan War, and a constituent of mine as well. Chris Marvin, are you here? Welcome to the Senate. And I know that many of you are here to express opposition to the gun bill that I'm the introducer of. So if you're all here, please stand if you're not standing already, and welcome to the Senate. I appreciate your presence. Also, I believe that Chief Justice Rechtenwald is here. You could stand. And Deputy Court Administrator Dalen Rose Heather. And Brandon Kimura, Director of the Policy and Planning at Judiciary as well, who's already standing up there at the top of the stairway. Finally, I know there are many judges here. I can't see you all, but please stand and be recognized before we get started. Mahalo. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further introductions? If not, Madam Clerk.
On page 2, House Communication number 817 informs the Senate that the House made changes to conferees to various bills. House Communication numbers 818 and 820 inform the Senate that various bills passed final reading in the House. And House Communication number 819 informs the Senate that the House agreed to the amendments made by the Senate to various House concurrent resolutions and that said resolutions were adopted.
File.
Beginning on page 6, Standing Committee Report numbers 2010 to 2013 for one-day notice.
So ordered.
Starting on page 8, Advise and Consent.
If there are no objections from the members, we will be taking advise and consent on consent.
On pages 8 and 9, Standing Committee Report numbers 2001 to 2003 on Governor's Messages for adoption.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous? Senator Gabbard, did you have discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, colleagues and guests and staff, I rise in support of GM 697 and consideration.
Bless you. Please proceed, Senator.
Mr. President, I rise in support of GM 697 in consideration and confirmation of Dean Matsukawa as the Deputy to the Chairperson of the Hawaii Department of Agriculture. Colleagues, Dean has over 30 years of experience in agricultural finance and a deep background in farming. He combines his financial expertise with firsthand knowledge of Hawaii's agricultural landscape. As Agricultural Loan Administrator for the Hawaii Department of Agriculture Loan Program, he grew $17 million to $26 million in loans supporting local farmers. Dean played a key role in modernizing loan systems, expanding access to capital for farmers statewide, and crafting legislation to strengthen the industry. Raised on his family's farm in Waiahole Valley, Dean brings a lifetime of connection to the land. He was in the 6th class to graduate from the Agricultural Leadership Foundation of Hawaii. His contributions have earned him multiple honors, including the Department's Manager of the Year Award. He's been president of the East Oahu County Farm Bureau and president of the Kona County Farm Bureau. Dean is joined by his wife and better half, Anna Matsukawa, who's been by his side through the many seasons of this journey. So we mahalo her too, because we know this work is never done alone. So if both of you would please stand. Where are they? There they are. Colleagues, I ask you to join me in supporting GM 697. And I also have on GM 532, I'd also like to take a moment to recognize Nicholas Testa, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. Nick will serve as a member of the Advisory Committee on Pesticides through June 30th, 2028. He currently serves as Special Services Manager at Aloha Termite, where he leads efforts to combat invasive species like the coconut rhinoceros beetle and little fire ants. He's also a trainer and safety officer with a strong foundation in pesticide education and structural pest management. So we mahalo Nick for stepping up to bring his boots on the ground experience to the table. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? The nominees, Senator Awa.
Mahalo Pelekikena, please mark down my opposition to GM 785.
So noted. Any other no votes? If not, the nominees for respective governor's messages have been confirmed with the one no vote for Senator Awa.
On page 9, Standing Committee Report number 2004 on Governor's Message number 790, Karen T. Nakasone, gubernatorial appointee to the Intermediate Court of Appeals, for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Rhodes,
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Governor's Message number 790.
please proceed.
Thank you. Members, this is the third appearance by Judge Karen Nakasone before this body seeking confirmation to a judgeship. She was first confirmed in 2011 to the Circuit Court by unanimous vote. After 9 years on the Circuit Court bench, she was elevated to the Intermediate Court of Appeals, again by unanimous vote. Now Judge Nakasone has been appointed to the position of Chief Justice of the Intermediate Court of Appeals to succeed the Honorable Lisa Ganoza, who was elevated to the Supreme Court. Judge Nakasone received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from Bryn Mawr College in Pennsylvania. She received her Juris Doctor from the Boston University School of Law, where she was the Vice President of the National Asian Pacific American Law Students Association and President of the university's Asian Pacific American Law Studies Association. Judge Nakasone has been licensed to practice law in the state since 1995. Judge Nakasone has dedicated her work to public service. Before law school, she interned with U.S. Representative Patsy T. Mink, and during law school, she interned at the Hawaii Attorney General's office. Her legal career began in 1995 by clerking for Judge Simeon R. Okoba, Jr., who sat on the ICA at the time. She then worked as Deputy Public Defender for the Office of Public Defender for 15 years before joining the bench. It is somewhat unusual that over the span of 14 years, the Senate will have had 3 opportunities to review and comment on a judge's performance and qualifications. Judge Nakasone has shown herself to be a skillful and hardworking judge. She is aware of the requirements of the position and the challenges leading a court that has repeatedly suffered from long backlogs. Her approach is to be steadfast and complete the task at hand, and she has set her sights on further decreasing the times of appeals to the ICA. Approximately 100 individuals attested to her qualifications for the chief judge position. This included several retired judges whom she appeared before or worked with on the bench, and the 2 governors who appointed her previously. A member of Hawaii's congressional team and numerous other members of the legal community also supported her. After having reviewed the testimony and other materials submitted to the committee and having examined the appointee at a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Karen T. Nakasone is qualified to serve as the Chief Judge of the Intermediate Court of Appeals and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment. Mahalo.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Karen T. Nakasone has been confirmed as judge for the Intermediate Court of Appeals. Senator Rhodes. And Senator Rhodes, let me just correct that before I confirm this, Chief Judge of the Intermediate Court of Appeals. Senator Rhodes?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm pleased to introduce our new ICA Chief Judge, Karen Nakasone. Please stand and be recognized. Judge Nakasone, Chief Judge Nakasone would like to recognize several people. If you are here in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. The judge's spouse, Roman Amagwin. No, not here today. Their daughters, Abby Nakasone Amagwin, watching from Japan, and Ellie Nakasone Amagwin, watching from Italy. Her mother, Chieko Nakasone. Welcome to Senate. Her sister, Nancy Tolentino. And all of the judges and staff of the Intermediate Court of Appeals, if you're here. Mahalo.
Now, before moving on, it is our, I guess, procedure to recess, invite the judicial nominee who has now been confirmed to come to the floor so that the members of the Senate may greet individually, congratulate, and have a photo with you. We have 4 more judges to confirm, which we're going to go through. And unusually, this is the second last day of session for this legislature, and we have several floor amendments that need to sit 48 hours before we can reconvene on Friday. So I'm going to ask the judges and their friends and family to be patient after they are all voted on. We are going to vote on the state budget and several floor amendments. When we conclude the floor amendments, we will recess and invite the judges and those who are with them to come to the floor. After we congratulate them, we will resume our regular calendar and conclude the votes. Madam Clerk?
Standing Committee Report number 2005 on Governor's Message number 788, Karen L. Holma, gubernatorial appointee to the Circuit Court of the First Circuit, for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Chang,
Thank you, Mr. President. In support,
please proceed.
Judge Karen Holma has been one of Oahu's district court judges since 2020. She has presided over approximately 50 civil and criminal trials in district court, including landlord-tenant, breach of contract, and collection cases on the civil side, criminal misdemeanors and petty misdemeanor cases, as well as traffic and mental health court cases. During her time on the bench, Judge Holma advanced and was assigned as the lead civil judge in district court for a year. Then, for the past 14 months, she has been temporarily assigned to circuit court, the position she now seeks, where she has handled a range of circuit court civil cases, including breach of contract, business disputes, foreclosure, personal injury, negligence, toxic torts, homeowners association, employment, condemnation, and probate cases. Judge Holma was in private practice before becoming a judge, handling commercial litigation cases, including construction, real estate litigation, and business partnership disputes. She worked at Bays, Lung, Rose, and Holma for more than 25 years, where she was a name and managing partner by the time she left. During that time, she held leadership positions in the Hawaii State Bar Association, Building Industry Association of Hawaii, and as a member of the Planning Commission for the City and County of Honolulu. Judge Holma also worked for a brief period as an Assistant Deputy Attorney General for the Labor Division of the Department of the Attorney General and was a law clerk for Associate Justice Ronald T.Y. Moon on the Hawaii Supreme Court. Judge Holma received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration from Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon. She received her Juris Doctor from the Willamette University College of Law in Salem, Oregon, where she was a member of the Moot Court Board and an associate editor for the Willamette Law Review. Judge Holma has been licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii since 1990. After having reviewed the testimony, the vast majority of which was in support of the appointment, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee in a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Karen L. Holma is qualified to serve as Circuit Court Judge of the Circuit Court of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Karen L. Holma has been confirmed as judge for the Circuit Court of the First Circuit. Senator Chang.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm pleased to introduce our new Circuit Court Judge for Oahu, Karen Holma. Judge, please stand and be recognized. Judge Holma would like to recognize her family. If you are here in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. The judge's husband, Scotty Anderson. And the judge's family watching from the mainland, including her mother. Mahalo.
Thank you, Senator Chang. Madam Clerk.
Standing Committee Report Number 2006 on Governor's Message Number 789, Taryn R. Tomasa Gifford, Gubernatorial Appointee to the Circuit Court of the First Circuit, for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, I rise in support of Governor's Message Number 789.
Please proceed.
Taryn R. Tomasa Gifford, known professionally as Taryn Tomasa, has committed her legal practice to public service. Since 2003, she has worked at the Office of the Public Defender, providing legal representation for indigent individuals in bench and jury trials, administrative hearings, and at the appellate level. Ms. Tomasa currently is a supervising attorney, overseeing and training attorneys and staff in the district court and appellate sections. She is also a member of the office's legislative team. Before working at the Office of the Public Defender, Ms. Tomasa was a law clerk for Judge John S. W. Lim, while he was both a circuit court judge and then an appellate court judge. She also worked for a year at the law firm of Perkin and Faria, where she appeared in family and probate court. Prior to becoming a lawyer, Ms. Tomasa worked as a paralegal and advocate for AmeriCorps, assisting victims of domestic violence. Ms. Tomasa attended the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where she received a Bachelor of Arts degree in history and graduated with honors. She received her Juris Doctor from the William S. Richardson School of Law at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. In law school, she received a CALI Award for Excellence for the Future Award for Intellectual Property and was co-editor of the Pacific Asian Law Journal. Ms. Tomasa has been licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii since 1998. After having reviewed the testimony, which was all in support of the appointment, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee in a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Taryn R. Tomasa Gifford is qualified to serve as Circuit Court Judge of the Circuit Court of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Taryn R. Tomasa Gifford has been confirmed as judge for the Circuit Court of the First Circuit. Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, may I request a late introduction?
Please proceed.
I'm pleased to introduce our new Circuit Court Judge for Oahu, Taryn Tomasa Gifford, to be professionally known as Taryn Tomasa. Judge, please stand and be recognized. Judge Tomasa would like to recognize several people, so if you're here in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. The judge's husband, James. Their sons, Makani in the gallery, and Pono, who is watching from college. Is Makani here? There he is. The judge's parents. Are they here? There they are, Mom and Dad. Aloha. And any other family in the gallery and also watching from Arizona. If you'd please stand. There they are. Mahalo, Mr. President.
Thank you. Now, I know after Judge Nakasone, I said we had 4 more judges to confirm. We've done 2. And there are 3 of you sitting there, so I don't want one of you thinking you're not going to be voted on today. I made a mistake. We had 5 more when we were done with Judge Nakasone, and all 3 of you, we will be taking your vote up today. My apologies for miscounting. Madam Clerk.
Standing Committee Report Number 2007 on Judiciary Communication Number 29, Maria F. Penn, Judicial Appointee to the District Family Court of the First Circuit for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Chang,
In support.
please proceed.
Since 2022, Judge Penn has worked as a per diem judge for the Family Court of the First Circuit. She regularly serves as a judge 2 to 3 days a week in all divisions of Family Court: Special Division, Juvenile Division, Domestic Division, and Family Court criminal matters. Judge Penn is also a solo practitioner, focusing on general litigation for both plaintiffs and defendants. She handles cases in a variety of legal areas, including contracts, construction, employment discrimination, wrongful termination, divorce, paternity, and temporary restraining orders. Judge Penn has assisted in criminal trials with jury selection and prepared and drafted various motions and memoranda. Judge Penn's introduction to law was as a paralegal at the office of Miles S. Briner, where she made the decision to go to law school. After receiving her law degree, she returned to the firm as an associate attorney and worked on various criminal defense, family law, and civil litigation cases. Judge Penn is an active member of the legal community, having volunteered for Courts in the Community as the head coach for the Hawai'i Baptist Academy mock trial team and with the Judiciary's Family Court Kids First program. Judge Penn attended the University of Southern California, where she received a Bachelor of Music degree in piano performance. She received her Juris Doctor from the William S. Richardson School of Law at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She has been licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii since 2003. After having reviewed the testimony, all of which was in support of the appointment, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee at a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Maria F. Penn is qualified to serve as a District Family Court Judge of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Maria F. Penn has been confirmed as judge for the District Family Court of the First Circuit. Senator Chang,
Thank you, Mr. President. May I be permitted a late introduction?
please proceed.
I'm pleased to introduce our new District Family Court Judge for Oahu, Maria Penn. Judge, please stand and be recognized. Judge Penn would like to recognize several other people. If you are here in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. The judge's husband, Jay Penn. The judge's mother, Nobuko Dumlau. Her brother, Baldwin Dumlau. Other family and friends present in person and watching online. Her family, Court Ohana. And her colleagues from the law office of Michael Green. Mahalo.
Thank you, Senator Chang. Madam Clerk.
Standing Committee Report Number 2008 on Judiciary Communication Number 30, Wilson A. Unga, Judicial Appointee to the District Family Court of the First Circuit for adoption.
So I apologize, Madam Clerk. I was informed by Senator Gabbard, who is going to speak on this, that the G is silent. It's Wilson. Una. Senator Gabbard. Is there any discussion, Senator Gabbard?
I rise in support of Judiciary Communication Number 30, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Wilson Una has committed his career to public service. Since 2013, he has worked as a deputy prosecuting attorney for the Department of the Prosecuting Attorney of the City and County of Honolulu. He is currently the department's Felony Trials Division Chief, and in that role, he supervises litigation and administrative activities for all felony prosecutors assigned to the division. Mr. Una was previously a domestic violence felony team captain overseeing the prosecution of felony domestic violence cases. Before working at the department, Mr. Una clerked for 2 years, first for Judge Edwin Nacino on the Circuit Court for the First Circuit and then for Justice Richard Pollack at the Hawaii Supreme Court. Mr. Una is also active in the legal community as a member of the Hawaii State Bar Association's Judicial Administration Committee and the Judiciary's Court Interpreters and Language Access Committee, and as a board member for the Pacific Islander Legal Association. Mr. Una received a Bachelor's of Science degree in International Politics from Georgetown University, where he graduated cum laude. He also earned a Master of Business Administration degree from the Schindler College of Business at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where he graduated cum laude and was the recipient of the Scheidler Department Merit Scholarship and Chu J. Family Scholarship. Mr. Una received his Juris Doctor from the William S. Richardson School of Law at UH Manoa, where he received the John S. Edmonds Award for Excellence in Legal Writing, was a recipient of the Advocates for Public Interest Law Grant, and was co-editor-in-chief for the Asian Pacific Law and Policy Journal. Mr. Una has been licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii since 2012. After having reviewed the testimony, all of which was in support of the appointment, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee in a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Wilson A. Una is qualified to serve as a District Family Court Judge of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Keohokalole.
Thank you, Mr. President, in support.
Please proceed.
I know this man. This is a good man. He's very deserving of this honor. And I'm very proud of him and proud to support his nomination. I can imagine what it's like for my family, how proud they are to be able to say, you know, we have a senator in the family. I can only imagine for his family. And then we've seen it with the other judges today. What a proud moment it is for everyone in the family to be able to say, one of ours is a judge. So to all of the family and to Wilson, strong support. I know you're going to do great things, and I'm so happy that you're here today, stepping forward to serve in this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, do we have Senator Awa?
Mahalo Pelikikena. If the judiciary did an NFL draft like they did last week, Wilson Unga would probably be categorized by ESPN as a sleeper pick. If you look up that in AI, what it means, someone with the potential to go beyond what's expected of them. Wilson could have took a job out of state, could have took many jobs out of state to make a lot more money, but being a resident of Kahuku and that community, he recognizes that family, the community, the Polynesians we represent. The help is needed in the judiciary, and he chose kuleana over what could have benefited him personally and financially. So with that, much respect to you, and thank you for serving.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Wilson A. Una has been confirmed as judge for the District Court, Family Court of the First Circuit. Senator Gabbard,
Mr. President, may I be permitted a late introduction?
please proceed.
I'm pleased to introduce our new District Family Court Judge for Oahu, Wilson Una. Judge, please stand and be recognized. Mahalo. Judge Una would like to recognize several people. If you're here in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. The judge's wife, Sunny. Their three daughters, Ina Mae, Joanne, and Alana. The judge's parents, Livingston and Fifita Una. And his sister, Ina Mae Taea. And the many other family members joining them in the gallery and watching from Utah and other places. Please give them a hand. Mahalo.
Thank you, Senator Gabbard. Now that we've taken the vote. I know we've made much over the past decade or so about getting more gender equity on the bench, and with 5 of the 6 nominees for confirmation women, the Chief Justice as well as the last 2 governors have worked diligently to find very qualified women, and we celebrate the women who come forward and allow us to have the court reflect what our community looks like. I think what Senator Ke'oho Kalole was alluding to but didn't say clearly, and I'm going to take Judge Una's word for it. When I met with him, he will be the first of Tongan ancestry to be confirmed to the Hawaii bench. And to your remarks, Senator Awa is clearly aware of the role model that he is and the glass ceiling that his nomination has shattered. So I extend my congratulations. Madam Clerk.
Standing Committee Report Number 2009 on Judiciary Communication Number 31, Rochelle I. Vidinha Kusumano, Judicial Appointee to the District Court of the First Circuit, for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator?
Sorry, I rise in support?
Well,
Can I do that now or after?
after
Okay.
Senator Rhodes, we'll
I'm so
give him as
excited.
the
Sorry,
Judiciary
Carl.
Chair a chance to go into all of the detail of the resume, and then you will follow up.
I won't talk long. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. President. I rise in support of Judiciary Communication Number
proceed.
31. Rochelle Vidinha Kusumano is another appointee who has dedicated her career to public service. Known professionally as Rochelle Vidinha, she has worked as a deputy prosecuting attorney at the Department of the Prosecuting Attorney of the City and County of Honolulu for 24 years. Ms. Vidinha is the department's team captain for the sexual assault and human trafficking unit. In that role, she is responsible for supervising several deputy prosecuting attorneys and handling a high volume of sexual assault and human trafficking cases. She has prosecuted numerous felony sexual assault and related cases, including human trafficking, child pornography, commercial sexual exploitation, and kidnapping cases. She also serves as the coordinator for the Honolulu County Human Trafficking Task Force, facilitating a coordinated effort between county, state, and federal law enforcement and service providers. Ms. Vidinha has been recognized for her professional work and is the recipient of the Department of the Prosecuting Attorney's Excellence Award and the Hawaii Women Lawyers Outstanding Woman Lawyer Award. She has also been faculty with the Hawaii State Bar Association's Trial Academy. Prior to law school, Ms. Vidinha worked as a parole officer for the Hawaii Paroling Authority for 9 years. Ms. Vidinha earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology and Social Work from Pacific University in Forest Grove, Oregon. She earned her Juris Doctor from the Richardson School of Law at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where she was a recipient of the Kamehameha School's scholarship. Ms. Vidinha has been licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii since 2001. After having reviewed the testimony, all of which was in support of the appointment, and other materials submitted to the committee, and having examined the appointee in a hearing, your Judiciary Committee finds that Rochelle I. Vidinha Kusumano is qualified to serve as a District Court Judge of the First Circuit and recommends that the Senate consent to the appointment. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator DeCourt.
Thank you, colleagues. In the past few years, Waianae has been rocked to its core with bad news. In 2023, we saw an increase of homicides upwards to about 80%. We are constantly filled through the media with shootings, domestic violence, human sex trafficking, and this is the day where we are able to acknowledge the good that is coming out of Waianae. Rochelle is a reflection of the good people that continue to fight through the adversity and fight through the struggle of what the surroundings wants to stay and keep us in violence and poverty. Today is the day that her being confirmed is not only a position, it is a role model for kids in our community, for them to see that there is a way out. And the same struggles that our kids face today is the same struggles that Rochelle has had to come through to show the 96792 that not only can good things come out of Waianae, but good things can come out of Waianae to promote and to make the state of Hawaii a better place. Rochelle is somebody who I have met in the community, somebody who is boots on the ground, but most importantly, somebody who does not forget where she comes from. that she will continue to contribute back to the 96792, that she will not move out of Waianae and then forget about us, but she will use her knowledge and her skills to help the youth in our community to be elevated and to show our people that she looks like us, she sounds like us, she moves like us, and this is the role models that we need to see not only in Waianae but in the state of Hawaii. So with that, I proudly support your nomination and ask my colleagues to also support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. Rochelle I. Vidina Cusumano has been confirmed as judge for the District Court of the First Circuit. Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm pleased to introduce our new District Court Judge for Oahu, Rochelle I. Vidina. Please stand and be recognized. Judge Vidina would like to recognize several people. If you're here in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. The judge's husband, Michael Cusumano, their sons, Kupono and La'akea, her mother, Sharon Vidina. Sorry, I didn't see whether her son stood up. Kupono and La'akea, did you? Oh, there you go. Okay. Her mother, Sharon Vidina. Her brother, Richard Vidina, and sisters Elise Rego and Naomi Morgan. Her niece, Keely Rego. And the judge's mother, Joanne Cusumano, watching from Hilo. Mahalo.
Thank you. Again, we have the state budget to vote on and several amendments. When we conclude with the amendments, we will recess and have our recently confirmed judges come to the floor to be congratulated by the members. Madam Clerk,
Beginning on page 10, final reading.
if there are no objections from the members, we will be taking final reading on consent.
Conference Committee Report Number 45, final reading of House Bill 300, Conference Draft 1, relating to the state budget.
Is there any discussion? Senator De La Cruz,
Thank you, Mr. President. In support.
please proceed.
I have about maybe about 30 pages, but I don't want the judges waiting. So I'm just going to submit written remarks. But I do want to thank the House Finance Chair, and especially the Ways and Means Committee and the committee chairs, all the staff, the administration, all those ASOs and budget staff that helped put together the budget. And with that said, I ask my colleagues to support the budget, and if I can have written remarks inserted into the journal. Thank
So
you.
ordered. Further discussion, Senator Awa.
Mahalo Pelikikana, request for a brief recess.
If there are no objections from the members, we'll call for a brief recess. Will the Senate please come back into order? We are on discussion of House Bill 300, Conference Draft 1. Further discussion, Senator Moriwaki.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to thank the colleagues and you, and also the Capital Improvements Chair from the House Finance, and especially the WAM Chair, because I think we have a good CIP budget. I do have written remarks that I would like to be placed in the journal. Mahalo.
So ordered. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. House Bill 300, Conference Draft 1 passes final reading.
We're on page 11, floor amendments. Conference Committee Report Number 85, final reading of Senate Bill 401, Conference Draft 1, relating to firearms.
Senator DeCoit.
Mr. President, I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 401, CD1 relating to firearms.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 15, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 401, Conference Draft 1 relating to firearms, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Decoit.
Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment number 15 be adopted.
Senator Richards.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Decoit.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I rise to offer an amendment to SB number 401, CD1 relating to firearms. An amendment grounded in fairness, constitutional duty, public safety, and responsible environmental management. This amendment does 4 key things. First, it grandfathers in law-abiding citizens statewide, whether on Oahu or the neighbor islands, who legally acquired firearms and standard capacity magazines prior to January 1st, 2026. Secondly, it allows licensed firearms dealers statewide to continue lawfully servicing, repairing, and transferring those grandfathered items. Third, it preserves the rights of subsistence hunters and conservation workers, especially Native Hawaiians, protected under Article 12, Section 7 of the Hawaii Constitution. And fourth, it requires just compensation if the state forces the surrender of legally owned firearms or magazines as required under both the U.S. and Hawaii Constitutions. But it must raise a broader, urgent concern, one that affects every island, every budget, and every taxpayer. The rising toll of an invasive species in Hawaii. On Molokai and Maui, axis deer have caused devastation and wreaked havoc, stripping our pasture lands, collapsing our native ecosystems, destroying irrigation systems, and driving ranchers into crisis. On Hawaii Island, feral pigs are tearing through farms and forests, spreading disease and disrupting watershed protections. And across the state, we are already spending millions, if not billions, to contain little fire ants, coconut rhinoceros beetles, and coqui frogs, invasive species that directly harm our tourism, economy, and our quality of life. This is not just an ecological issue. It is a budgetary crisis, and we are paying for it with taxpayer dollars. And every time we remove a tool from the people on the front lines, our hunters, ranchers, landowners, and conservation crews, we increase the costs. Without access to lawful and effective tools, we are tying one hand behind our back in the fight against these invasive species. And we are forcing the cost burden onto the state and onto the very taxpayer who are already stretched thin. This amendment is about preserving the tools of stewardship, the ability to manage land responsibly, to prevent the collapse of ecosystems, and to ensure our local families, not just state agencies, can help fight this war. Mr. President, I must also raise one final concern, and that is the lack of a clear exemption in this bill for law enforcement officers and our DLNR personnel. As written, the bill could place police officers, sheriffs, tactical units, and conservation enforcement officers at risk of violating the very law they are sworn to enforce, simply by carrying out their official duties using standard issue equipment. This is not just a legal hazard, it's a public safety failure, and this amendment assures we do not criminalize the lawful actions of those tasked with protecting our communities. Mr. President, this amendment keeps the public safety goals of the bill intact. It still prohibits new purchases and imports after January 1st of 2026, but ensures that our rural families, subsistence hunters, Native Hawaiian practitioners, licensed businesses, law enforcement and conservation workers are not punished, disarmed, or disenfranchised in the process. Let us support responsible ownership. Let us support effective conservation. Let us stop the financial bleeding caused by invasive species, and let us ensure our laws are not enforced at the expense of those who protect the land. At the same time, we have asked, the House has also filed the exact same amendment, and I respectfully urge adoption of this amendment and the support of my colleagues. Mahalo, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator Rhodes,
Thank you, Mr. President. In opposition.
please proceed.
The big picture is this amendment creates a huge carve-out for the sale of assault weapons. If we pass it, it basically eviscerates the underlying bill. So that's the big picture. The grandfathering, the current draft of the underlying bill grandfathers assault weapons that people own currently and up until the beginning of next year that they purchased before then. There's already a storage bill, there's already a storage protection bill that's passed this year, HB 125, that was just engrossed into law recently. For years, there's been a law enforcement exemption. It's covered by HRS 134-11. Law enforcement, military, government employees have all been covered for years so that they could purchase weapons that were not necessarily available to the general public. The House is very unlikely to pass this amendment, which means that if we do, the bill is dead. And there is also a technical problem with the bill. It amends a section that in the ghost gun bill that we just passed and was signed into law, Act 18, about 2 weeks ago. And of course, the ghost gun bill is an important piece of legislation, and I'd hate to see that. Ghost guns are a serious threat, and I'd hate to see that legislation that we just passed compromised by amending it in this way. So my request respectfully to my colleagues is to vote no. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Richards.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of the amendment.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I'd like my words, Senator DeCoite's words, be entered in as if they were my own, but to add to that, what this is striking to find some common ground on the different parties on this. The intent is to maintain public safety while recognizing that agriculture needs some tools in the toolbox. So I would ask that my colleagues support this amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Favela.
Yes, Senator President, stand in strong support.
Please proceed.
You know, Senator President, all what Senator DeCoite said, Senator from Molokai and the neighbor islands, 100% right. If you don't live on the neighbor islands, you don't see the problems that is happening. Deer going through the airports, busting up the land, taking away all their quality of life that they live. We don't have that here. We have buildings all over the place, right? We live in urban, whatever you like call. We don't have those issues. But again, it's taken away from an opportunity for eradicating some of these things. If you guys go to the windward side and you guys see how the wild boar and wild pigs going over there and disrupting the land, raping the land, busting up the land, all of these things. These amendments will secure the rights of our people that want to defend not only their land, but their way of life. And not having this bill understand the scare tactics of what we're being said over here about the ghost guns. We ban any guns today or anything like this and not support this amendment. Ghost guns will always exist in a community. A bill like this, or going for a bill like this and saying that you don't like this amendment because of those guns, after with or without this amendment, those guns will still exist, no matter what. Thank you, and I urge my colleagues to please support this amendment.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator DeCoite, then Senator San Buenaventura.
Mr. President, without this floor, in support of the floor amendment.
Please proceed.
Without this floor amendment, the bill in its original condition will not only restrict law-abiding citizens who legally carry, but this will also restrict our law enforcement officers. So again, what this bill continues to turn out to be is not keeping our public safe, but it's also hindering our sheriffs, our HPD workers, and those that are set out to protect us. And now it continues to leave us vulnerable in the area that I represent, which is the Waianae Coast, as I continue to be the voice of my community, saying over and over again about the rising crime and issue after issue. This would leave Waianae continually vulnerable to not only being able to defend themselves, but also the protection of our law enforcement. So I encourage my colleagues to also support this floor amendment, as I do. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support.
Please proceed.
The most beneficial thing of the floor amendment is the grandfathering clause. My biggest problem with SB 401, CD1, is the amendment that includes the possession of magazines with a capacity in excess of 10 rounds are designed. The mere possession is automatically a crime. So we have legal hunters with the common mag of 30 rounds. I don't own, my family does. I do not appreciate our legislature, which has passed substantial, strict gun laws. And in fact, it is a testament to the history of the gun laws that we have passed, that we have not ever had a history of an assault rifle mass killing in this state. The last mass killing we had was over 25 years ago. That was Uyasuge. And it's because of the strict gun laws we have now. And I have voted in favor of all of those strict gun laws. But now, at a time when we are actually going to criminalize legal hunters, we've gone too far. The grandfathering, at the very least, it allows them to keep what it is they've got. But we are actually making them criminals by possession of magazines that we had legalized before they bought it. And now, by their mere possession, because we decide to pass this bill, we decide to label them as criminals. And that, to me, is unethical and should not be tolerated by this body. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. President. Still in opposition. So I've just been confirmed that the House has not offered this amendment, so passing this will kill the bill. I would also point out that a number of the issues that have been raised are covered by the underlying bill. I won't repeat myself, but I won't repeat myself much. The grandfathering is already in there. This bill will make us safer, not less safe. Having right now, you can buy for $120 a 100-round canister that will fit any of the AR-15 type assault rifles, and that's the whole point of the bill. Is that we don't want when police are trying to take down a mass murderer or shooter, the opportunity they have to do that is primarily when they're reloading. And if you have a 100-round canister, you don't have to reload very often. So the whole point of the bill is to make that make that more difficult, while grandfathering in all the weapons that people have currently. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Elefante, then Senator Favela.
Thank you, Mr. President. In opposition to the proposed floor amendment. Thank you. I appreciate the introducer of the floor amendment for offering this. However, in its current form, I'm unable to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Favela.
Thank you, Senate President. I just wanted to have the comments of the senator from Puna as my own to the Senate General. Thank you.
So ordered. Further discussion, Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. In support, and would just like the records of the good speaker from Puna entered in the record as if they were my own.
So ordered. Further discussion, Senator Awa.
In response to our Judiciary Chair, right when we started our session over here, in support of the amendment, apologies.
Please proceed.
And in response, thanks. And in response to our Judiciary Chair, right at the start of our session, we ran over the amendment to the House side, and so they did file it, and it's waiting to be voted on. But like he made clear, for anybody who walked in late in the gallery, essentially what this amendment does, if you don't get caught up in everything that's in it, is allows us to kill the bill. And so that's really what we're voting on. A yes vote would help us do that, and a no vote would remain status quo.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, any objections to the amendment? Senators Elefante, Kanuha, Hashimoto, Chang, Fukunaga, Inouye, Ihara, Lee, Rhodes, Keokalole, De La Cruz. Amendment fails. We're on
Conference Committee Report Number 98, final reading of Senate Bill 97, Conference Draft 1, relating to motor vehicles.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 97 CD1.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 14, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 97, Conference Draft 1, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Lee.
Mr. President, I move that floor amendment number 14 be adopted.
Senator Elefante.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. This floor amendment would remove duplicative language that also exists in another bill that is poised to pass this chamber in the legislature. So it would remove any potential conflict should both measures be signed into law without affecting the underlying substance of those bills.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, motion is carried. Floor Amendment Number 14 has been adopted. Senator Lee.
Mr. President, I move to separate SB 97 CD1 from Conference Committee Report Number 98.
Senator Lee. Oh, Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Conference Committee Report Number 98. 48-hour notice is hereby given for final reading of SB 97 CD2.
Conference Committee Report Number 198, final reading of Senate Bill 1434, Conference Draft 1, relating to Universal Immunization Funding Program.
Senator San Buenaventura.
Mr. President, I wish to offer floor amendment to SB 1434 CD1.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 13, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 1434, Conference Draft 1, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator San Buenaventura.
Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment number 13 be adopted.
Senator De La Cruz. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason for the floor amendment is that the current CD1 did not accurately reflect the WHAM recommendation that we were required to adopt, and this floor amendment would fix that anomaly.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor amendment has been adopted. Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry.
You are going to separate Senate Bill 1434, Conference Draft 1, from Conference Committee Report Number 198.
Yes, Senate President.
Thank you, Senator De La Cruz. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Conference Committee Report Number 198. 48-hour notice is hereby given for final reading of SB 1434 CD2.
Conference Committee Report Number 199, final reading of House Bill 1026, Conference Draft 1, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items.
Senator Aquino.
Mr. President, I wish to offer a floor amendment to HBU 1026 CD1.
Madam Clerk, please identify the floor amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 11, proposing an amendment to House Bill 1026, Conference Draft 1, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Aquino.
Mr. President, I move that floor amendment number 11 be adopted.
Senator Lee.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Aquino.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's an error in the general fund expenditure ceiling percentage. In this CD1, the alleged drafters used a correct template, and the dollar amount is correct, but the percentage calculation based on our calculator is 1.3%, which means the percentage amount should be rounded up to 2% to satisfy constitutional and statutory requirements.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor Amendment Number 11 has been adopted. Senator Aquino.
Okay, Mr. President, I move to separate HB 1026 CD1 from Conference Committee Report Number 199.
Senator Lee.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Conference Committee Report number 199. 48-hour notice is hereby given for final reading of HB 1026 CD2.
Conference Committee Report Number 233, final reading of House Bill 1483, Conference Draft 1, relating to fireworks.
Is there Senator Elefante?
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to offer a floor amendment to House Bill 1483 CD1 relating to fireworks.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 12, proposing an amendment to House Bill 1483, Conference Draft 1, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that floor amendment number 12 be adopted.
Senator Rhodes.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, Senator Elefante?
Thank you, Mr. President. The proposed floor amendment allows the film industry and other commercial entities to be able to import fireworks necessary to conduct business in accordance with federal shipping standards.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Floor Amendment Number 12 has been adopted. Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to separate House Bill 1483 CD1 relating to fireworks from Conference Committee Report number 233.
Senator Rhodes.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Conference Committee Report number 233. 48-hour notice is hereby given for final reading of SB 1483 CD2. If there are no objections from the members, take a short recess. Will the Senate please come back into order? During the recess to greet the judges, there was a question on the vote to floor amend Senate Bill 401 for the sake of transparency and clarity. I'm now going to ask the clerk to have a roll call vote. What is before us is the motion to amend 401 as discussed by the introducer, Senator DeCoite, Senator Richards with the second, and several other members, and of course you heard from Chair Rhodes and Elefante in opposition to the amendment. Is everyone clear? Yes vote is in favor of the amendment, and we would put the bill on 48-hour notice to vote on Friday. No vote to the amendment. We will then be taking up the bill in its current form today. Senator Awa.
Discussion, Mahalo Pelikakena, in support of the amendment.
Please proceed.
Not in support of retaking the vote. We took the vote. If everybody looks on the video on YouTube under the Senate's account, you'll hear 11 names, and those 11 names are opposed. That means we, including the president, that would be 12. That means we should have 13 for the amendment, according to the video of the vote that we just took. But right now, for everybody who just rolled back in, we're going to re-vote and probably lose. But if you check back the record, the amendment should go through, which would have, again, helped us kill the bill. Just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
Senator Aquino. Senator Awa.
Aye.
Senator Chang. Senator DeCoite. Senator DeCourt.
Aye.
Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Elefante.
No.
Senator Favela. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Gabbard. Senator Hashimoto. Senator Ihara.
No.
Senator Inoue.
No.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Keoho Kalole.
No.
Senator Kidani. Senator Kim. Senator Lee. Senator McKelvey. Senator Moriwaki.
No.
Senator Rhodes? Senator Richards? Senator San Buenaventura? Senator Wakai? Mr. President?
Aye.
13 ayes, 12 noes.
Amendment passes. Senator Decoit.
Mr. President, brief recess.
We need to separate the report.
Mr. President, I move to separate to SB 401, CD1 relating to firearms from Conference Committee Report number 85.
Senator Richards.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, any objections? If not, the motion is carried. I don't have that page in the script anymore, Madam Clerk, but needless to say, 48-hour notice is hereby given after we separate the reports, and we will have that scheduled for final vote on Friday. Senator Elefante.
Mr. President, a brief recess.
Senate is called back to order. I have, during the recess, been approached by both the proponents of Bill 401 and those who advocated the amendment that passed. As the House has not amended that bill and the bill cannot pass, if there are no objections, we are going to recommit Senate Bill 401. Senator Kim.
Mr. President, I object to that. I think that it deserves the vote, deserves to be voted upon.
So I had difficulty hearing, other than you're objecting, you don't want us to recommit the bill.
No, I think we need to vote on the bill as amended on Friday.
Further objections?
I move that we don't commit.
Again, I have said if there are no objections, I am recommitting the bill. One objection, any other objections to recommitting the bill? Hearing none, so ordered. Madam Clerk.
On pages 12 to 28, final reading of the non-fiscal consent calendar. Final reading of the non-fiscal consent calendar, beginning with Conference Committee Report 4 on Senate Bill 15, Conference Draft 1, which is on page 12, to Conference Committee Report number 257 on House Bill 441, Conference Draft 1 on page 28.
Is there any discussion? Well, first of all, we'll be taking this on consent. Discussion, Senator McKelvey.
Yes, Mr. President, I believe I enrolled a couple of the measures on here for a no vote. I believe the clerk has them.
Yes, I have CCR 101, Senate Bill 597, CCR 209, House Bill 860.
Thank you very much.
Any other reservations? Any other no votes?
25 ayes. I'm
With
sorry.
with the two
with the
exceptions.
exception of the two bills mentioned.
All bills on the non-fiscal consent calendar from SB 15 CD1 to on page 12 to HB 441 CD1 on page 28 pass final reading.
Final reading of the non-fiscal ordinary calendar beginning on page 28. Conference Committee Report number 3, final reading of House Bill 1051, Conference Draft 1, relating to energy efficiency portfolio standards.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Was, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1051, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 7, final reading of House Bill 1098, Conference Draft 1, relating to crimes against protective services workers.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Owa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1098, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 11, final reading of Senate Bill 176, Conference Draft 1, relating to recounts.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awad, DeCourt, Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 176, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 12, final reading of Senate Bill 88, Conference Draft 1, relating to the Hawaii National Guard.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 88, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 13, final reading of Senate Bill 222, Conference Draft 1, relating to fireworks.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 222, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 29, Conference Committee Report Number 14, final reading of Senate Bill 601, Conference Draft 1, relating to law enforcement.
Is there any
President.
discussion? Senator Lee.
May I have a brief recess?
If there are no objections, recess. Will the Senate please come back into order, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, we are on Conference Committee Report 14 on final reading of Senate Bill 601, Conference Draft 1, relating to law enforcement.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Before the next item, Madam Clerk, I have had a request to have CCR 215, House Bill 958, moved to the end of the calendar. If there are no objections, so ordered. Let's proceed or resume.
Conference Committee Report 15, final reading of Senate Bill 1030, Conference Draft 1, relating to elections.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1030, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report 20, final reading of Senate Bill 31, Conference Draft 1, relating to property.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 31, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 32, final reading of House Bill 957, Conference Draft 1, relating to Lau Lau Day.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 957, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 50, final reading of House Bill 511, Conference Draft 1, relating to public lands.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 511, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report 51, final reading of House Bill 732, Conference Draft 1, relating to shoreline management areas.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous? Senator Awa.
Mahalo Pelekikena. I rise in opposition of this bill. Just real
Please
quick.
proceed.
Thank you. Just really quickly here, because of being in the party that we're in, we catch a lot of flack from environmentalists. Environmentalists and our community out here on the North Shore were against this bill. We are against this bill. We hear you folks. The other side is not in this case, and so I just want to state that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator Gabbard.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 732 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 54, final reading of House Bill 103, Conference Draft 1, relating to sentencing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senators Aquino and Elefante. Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeCourt, and Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. HB 103 CD1 passes final reading.
On page 30, Conference Committee Report Number 60, final reading of House Bill 398, Conference Draft 1, relating to compensation for court-appointed representation.
Is there any discussion? Senator Rhodes,
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this measure.
please proceed.
First, I want to thank my colleagues, and especially the chairs of Ways and Means and the chair of Finance, for agreeing to support this bill and others that invest in our future by shoring up the judicial branch of government. This session, the committee's passed measures that made permanent the Women's Court and the Community Outreach Court. We saw increases in payments to witnesses who appear in court, for professionals that examine defendants for whether they are mentally fit to stand trial, for court-appointed lawyers in criminal cases, and increased positions to provide critical probationary services. Finally, with HB 398, the committee's increased payments for court-appointed attorneys and guardians ad litem. The pay for guardians ad litem has not been increased in 18 years. The pay for court-appointed attorneys has not been increased in 20 years. Consequently, our courts and the people of Hawaii face a deep shortage of lawyers willing to represent the most vulnerable people in our state. The judiciary has stated that while the entire state is affected by the situation, there's an unchecked crisis in the Third Circuit on the island of Hawaii as judges struggle to find lawyers and guardians ad litem. In family court, these professionals perform a critical role in a wide range of family court cases, including representing the best interests of children who have been abused or neglected and parents whose parental rights may be terminated. Without this bill, many people cannot obtain timely legal representation, a fundamental and constitutional right in the state of Hawaii. Some may view these bills as minor problems in the broad scheme of things, but our Constitution requires that criminal defendants be assigned a lawyer if they cannot afford one. With the Office of the Public Defender stretched past its limit, and very few attorneys willing to take cases where the judge appoints them because of the low reimbursement rate, serious cases can be dismissed for constitutional reasons, and those accused of serious crimes released without a trial. These bills make that nightmare scenario much less likely. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. HB 398 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 61, final reading of House Bill 277, Conference Draft 1, relating to vehicular pursuit.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no reservations? Senator McKelvey. No vote, Senator Awa, Senator Favela.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 277 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 62, final reading of House Bill 1259, Conference Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator McKelvey, Senator San Buenaventura.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1259 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 65, final reading of Senate Bill 532, Conference Draft 1, relating to the Department of Education.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 532 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 69, final reading of Senate Bill 1433, Conference Draft 1, relating to harm reduction.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. Is this SB 1433, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. President.
SB 1433 CD1 passes final reading.
On page 31, Conference Committee Report Number 71, final reading of Senate Bill 694, Conference Draft 1, relating to the detention of minors.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 694, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 77, final reading of Senate Bill 38, Conference Draft 1, relating to housing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Elefante, Senator Morawaki, Senator McKelvey, Senator Favela. Any no votes? Senator Ihara. Reservations or no votes, Senator Kim? Reservations for Senator Kim as well. Senator Awa, no vote.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 38, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 78, final reading of Senate Bill 66, Conference Draft 1, relating to housing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 66, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 79, final reading of House Bill 1162, Conference Draft 1, relating to motorcycle instruction permits.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela. Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeCourt, McKelvey.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. HB 1162, CD1 passes final reading. We'll take a short recess so you can look at the floor amendment that was just put on your desk. I want to call the Senate back into order, and just so the members are aware of procedurally what we are doing, we received verbal communication that there is an error in Senate Bill 1396 that needs to be corrected according to DOTAX. Our Crackerjack Ace staff has gotten the floor amendment ready to be considered, but we are not in receipt of DOTAX's memo as to why this needs to be done. So we're going to resume where we are. And as soon as we can get the memo so that we could justify amending it, then we'll proceed to the floor amendment. Madam Clerk?
We're on page 31, Conference Committee Report 81, final reading of House Bill 226, Conference Draft 1, relating to windshield tinting.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela, McKelvey.
21 ayes, 4 noes.
Thank you. HB 226, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 82, final reading of House Bill 228, Conference Draft 1, relating to license plates.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 228, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 32, Conference Committee Report Number 84, final reading of Senate Bill 104, Conference Draft 1, relating to corrections.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 104, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 88, final reading of Senate Bill 1323, Conference Draft 1, relating to health care.
If there are no objections from the members, we will be recommitting this bill at the concurrence of both our Chair, San Buenaventura, and the House Chair, Takayama, there are some things that need to be fixed that can be done by next year. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Next item, please.
Conference Committee Report Number 89, final reading of Senate Bill 1429, Conference Draft 1, relating to medical cannabis.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1429, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 92, final reading of Senate Bill 1095, Conference Draft 1, relating to license plates.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1429, CD1 passes final reading. Oh, I'm sorry. Senate Bill 1095, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 93, final reading of Senate Bill 1102, Conference Draft 1, relating to the Aircraft Rescue Firefighting Unit.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator DeCourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 1102, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 33, Conference Committee Report Number 94, final reading of Senate Bill 1195, Conference Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1195, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 95, final reading of Senate Bill 1216, Conference Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela, McKelvey.
21 ayes, 4 noes.
Thank you. SB 1216, CD1 passes final reading. I believe we're in receipt of the communication from the Department of Taxation, so if there are no objections, short recess so we can get that to Senator Kanuha. Will the Senate come back to order? Can we consider the new floor amendment, Madam Clerk?
Members, we are on page 35. Turning to that page, this is Conference Committee Report 200, final reading of Senate Bill 1396, Conference Draft 1, relating to economic development.
Senator Kanuha.
Mr. President, I wish to offer a floor amendment to SB 1396, CD1, related to economic development.
Madam Clerk, please identify the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 16, proposing an amendment to Senate Bill 1396, Conference Draft 1, copies of which have been distributed to the members.
Senator Kanuha.
Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment number 16 be adopted.
Senator Richards.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Kanuha.
Thank you, Mr. President. DOTAX notes an error in allocation in the Mass Transit Special Fund, the MTSF. In the CD1 version of SB 1396, under existing law, 1% of all gross rental proceeds are allocated to the MTSF. The CD1 version, however, allocates 0.98% of all TAT revenues collected. This results in a 90% reduction in the allocation to the MTSF. The amendment proposed above would revert the allocation formula to use gross rental proceeds as the base. This ensures that the allocation to the MTSF is maintained. This basically clarifies that the fund that the HART accesses.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any objections? If not, motion is carried. Floor amendment number 16 has been adopted. Senator Kanuha.
Mr. President, I move to separate SB 1396 CD1 relating, wrong one.
1396 CD.
1396 relating to economic development.
Yes. Senator
From
Richards.
Conference Committee Report Number 200.
Senator Richards.
I second the motion.
We need some comic relief, so I actually have to call Senator DeCoit and what Senator Kanuha was trying to read after the correct number was relating to firearms. Everybody's been working diligently trying to get it together. I appreciate everyone's efforts. Senator Richards has seconded the motion. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, any objections? If not, the motion is carried. The clerk is directed to file Conference Committee Report Number 200. 48-hour notice is hereby given for final reading of SB 1396 CD2.
Turning back to page 33, we're on Conference Committee Report 97, final reading of Senate Bill 30, Conference Draft 1, relating to mopeds.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt. No vote for Senator McKelvey. Reservations for Senator Kanuha.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. Senate Bill 30, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 99, final reading of Senate Bill 321, Conference Draft 1, relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa, DeCourt, Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 321, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 100, final reading of Senate Bill 344, Conference Draft 1, relating to highway safety.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Oh, no vote for Senator Keohokalole. No vote for Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 344, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 102, final reading of Senate Bill 1008, Conference Draft 1, relating to parking.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1008, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 34, Conference Committee Report Number 113, final reading of Senate Bill 447, Conference Draft 1, relating to a Department of Health pilot program.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 447, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 118, final reading of Senate Bill 583, Conference Draft 1, relating to naming rights.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Ihara. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, DeCourt, and Rhodes.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 583, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 123, final reading of Senate Bill 1469, Conference Draft 1, relating to tax collections.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1469, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 126, final reading of Senate Bill 1221, Conference Draft 1, relating to stormwater management systems.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senators Ihara and McKelvey. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1221, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 133, final reading of House Bill 97, Conference Draft 1, relating to travel insurance.
Is there any discussion? Senator, if not, do we have unanimous consent? Reservations? No votes. No votes, Senator McKelvey, Senator Kim, Senator Awa.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. House Bill 97, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 140, final reading of House Bill 1171, Conference Draft 1, relating to the University of Hawaii relief funding.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 1171, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 35, Conference Committee Report Number 151, final reading of House Bill 1316, Conference Draft 1, relating to the Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1316, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 159, final reading of House Bill 550, Conference Draft 1, relating to fireworks.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 550, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 191, final reading of Senate Bill 589, Conference Draft 1, relating to renewable energy.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 589, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 193, final reading of Senate Bill 739, Conference Draft 1, relating to land exchange.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? No vote. Senator McKelvey, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 1396, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 36, Conference Committee Report Number 201, final reading of Senate Bill 1501, Conference Draft 1, relating to energy.
Is there any discussion? Not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1501, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 208, final reading of House Bill 235, Conference Draft 1, relating to traffic safety.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 235, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 213, final reading of House Bill 862, Conference Draft 1, relating to transportation services.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 862, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 214, final reading of House Bill 1231, Conference Draft 1, relating to traffic safety.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1231, CD1 passes final reading.
Members, the next item, Conference Committee Report 215 and House Bill 958, Conference Draft 1, was moved to the end of calendar.
Next item, Madam Clerk.
Page 37, Conference Committee Report Number 216, final reading of Senate Bill 1571, Conference Draft 1, relating to tourism.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 1571, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 223, final reading of House Bill 242, Conference Draft 1, relating to electric vehicle batteries.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 242, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 224, final reading of House Bill 735, Conference Draft 1, relating to wastewater.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservation? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 735, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 227, final reading of House Bill 969, Conference Draft 1, relating to waste or disposal facilities.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Decourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 969, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 231, final reading of House Bill 126, Conference Draft 1, relating to property forfeiture.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservation, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes? No vote, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 126, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 38, Conference Committee Report Number 235, final reading of House Bill 422, Conference Draft 1, relating to school impact fees.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote, Senator Decourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 422, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 242, final reading of House Bill 1153, Conference Draft 1, relating to funding adjustments for state programs.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and Decourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1193, CD1 passes final reading. I'm sorry, House Bill 1153, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 245, final reading of House Bill 796, Conference Draft 1, relating to tax credits.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator San Buenaventura. Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and Decourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 796, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 247, final reading of House Bill 1369, Conference Draft 1, relating to taxation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Decourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 1369, CD1 passes final reading.
Beginning on page 39, final reading of the fiscal consent calendar. Final reading of the fiscal consent calendar beginning with Senate Bill 1448, House Draft 2 on page 39 to Conference Committee Report Number 259 on House Bill 474, Conference Draft 1 on page 52.
Mr. President, short recess, please.
If no objection, short recess. Will the Senate please come back to order? Madam Clerk, please remind us where we're at.
We are on the final reading of the fiscal consent calendar, starting with Senate Bill 1448, House Draft 2 on page 39 to Conference Committee Report 259 on House Bill 474, Conference Draft 1 on page 52.
Is there any discussion? Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. In support, this is on page 48, CCR 190, Senate Bill 223, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1, CD1. And I'll just like to thank the senator from Hilo, the chair of Water and Land Committee, and also the state representative on the House and from Waipahu, and also the House chair of Public Safety for their hard work, and request to insert written remarks into the journal.
So ordered for
Thank
the
you.
discussion. If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. All bills on the fiscal consent calendar from Senate Bill 1448 HD2 on page 39 to HB 474, CD1 on page 52 pass final reading. Before going on to the next item, is there an announcement, Senator Kim?
Point of personal privilege. Mr.
Please
President.
proceed.
Can I put in, insert comments on House Bill 441, Committee Report Number 257, to insert comments?
So ordered.
Thank
Madam Clerk, can we get to the final reading fiscal? Senator Gabbard?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to insert comments on HB 427, CCR 220, in strong support.
So ordered.
Thank you very much.
Senator Kidani.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 42, I stand in strong support of CCR 115, Senate Bill 1300, CD1, and I'd like to enter written remarks into the journal.
So ordered, and thank you for providing a copy of your written remarks to us. Anyone else? If not, then, Madam Clerk, can we get to final reading fiscal ordinary calendar?
We're on starting on page 52, the final reading of the fiscal ordinary calendar, Conference Committee Report number 40, final reading of House Bill 3, Conference Draft 1, relating to beach management on the North Shore of Oahu.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 3 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report number 74, final reading of House Bill 806, Conference Draft 1, relating to fireworks.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and the court.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 806 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report number 108, final reading of House Bill 316, Conference Draft 1, relating to the Green Jobs Youth Corps.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and the court.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 316 CD1 passes final reading.
On page 53, Conference Committee Report number 109, final reading of House Bill 506, Conference Draft 1, relating to conservation enforcement.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 506 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report number 112, final reading of Senate Bill 1186, Conference Draft 1, relating to sustainable food systems.
Is there any discussion, Senator Gabbard?
Yes, hello, Mr. President, colleagues, staff, and guests. I rise in strong support of SB 1186.
Please proceed.
As I finish my 9th session as chair of the Senate Agriculture and Environment Committee, the adage that we all know well, it continues to hit home. Sometimes it takes a good bill years and years to pass, but it takes patience and persistence. SB 1186 is a perfect example. For as long as I've been the AEN chair, I've heard the same sobering fact that Hawaii imports 85 to 90% of our food, costing us around $3 billion every year, even though we have thousands of acres of land zoned for agriculture. My response has always been, okay, we know it's a problem. So where's the plan to fix it? So the honest truth, no plan. There wasn't one. There's never been a plan. So over the years, we've taken some steps. The Hawaii 2050 Sustainability Plan gave us long-term goals. Act 151 in 2019 aimed to double our local food production by 2030, and Acts 175 and 176 in 2021 set targets for local food in schools and state institutions. But no one was coordinating these efforts. No one was asking, how does it all fit together? That's why for the past 3 years, I've introduced bills to create a food systems working group to build that plan. And each time they didn't pass. Last session, I introduced Senate Reso 111 asking the Department of Ag to set up a sustainable food systems working group. It passed, and to my surprise, just a few weeks later, the Department of Ag called me and said, let's get the ball rolling. So during interim, the group worked hard and delivered a report in December. One of our main recommendations turned the idea into a law with funding to keep the momentum going. And thus, Senate Bill 1186 was born. So SB 1186 establishes an interagency food systems coordination team and a working group within the Agribusiness Development Corporation. It provides $100,000 to support staffing and operations so the group can keep working on a comprehensive statewide food plan. And creating this working group has been my #1 priority, as I mentioned, for the past 3 years. I'm proud to say we finally passed that at conference committee. It's here. It's been a long time coming, and I'm deeply grateful we're taking this step together to secure Hawaii's food future. The bottom line is it's about finally getting all the key players at the same table, putting a real plan together, and moving the needle on food security. and it was truly a Laulima effort, many hands working together to get the job done. Special thanks to Dr. Albie Miles, the Associate Professor of Sustainable Community Food Systems at UH West Oahu, for being the brainchild of the food systems effort in Hawaii, and also to Ms. Amanda Shaw, who's the Director of Food Systems and Statewide Food Systems Coordinator, for her excellent skill in shepherding us through the working group process. So I'm grateful we made it this far, and I humbly ask for your support of this bill. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1186, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 127, final reading of Senate Bill 933, Conference Draft 1, relating to the state budget.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Zawa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 933, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 132, final reading of House Bill 990, Conference Draft 1, making appropriations for claims against the state, its officers, or its employees.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. HB 990, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 154, final reading of House Bill 1378, Conference Draft 1, relating to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Zawa and DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1378, CD1 passes final reading.
On page 54, Conference Committee Report Number 158, final reading of House Bill 134, Conference Draft 1, relating to elections.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 134, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 160, final reading of Senate Bill 934, Conference Draft 1, relating to the state budget.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. SB 934, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 162, final reading of Senate Bill 935, Conference Draft 1, relating to government.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator DeCourt. Senator Rhodes. Oh, reservations for Senator Rhodes. No votes, Senator DeCourt.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 935, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 176, final reading of House Bill 496, Conference Draft 1, relating to Mamakiti.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Wakai.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 496, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 178, final reading of House Bill 1064, Conference Draft 1, relating to fire protection.
Is there any discussion? Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. In support.
Please proceed.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to express sincere gratitude to the senator from Salt Lake for initially introducing Act 209, which established the Office of the Fire Marshal, for all the advocates, also for the co-chairs, for the senator from Waipahu, the Labor and Technology Chair, as well as the Judiciary Chair and Ways and Means Chair and Finance Chair and their staff, the Office of the Governor, Will Keane and Arlena Aguayani, Senate leadership, House leadership, Vice Speaker Ichiyama, Chair of the Judiciary Committee in the House, as well as the Chair of the Public Safety Committee in the House, to our State Fire Council, Chief Todd, to the AG's office, DLNR, DOD, DLE, and DLIR, and also to my staff, and all the members and WAM and FIM designees, and to this body as well. This is a very important bill that allows the State Fire Marshal to continue, but also allows that when the State Fire Council does, in fact, select it before their deadline, that it will continue and that this sets up a new advise and consent process for the State Fire Marshal Selection Commission. And it also appropriates funding. So I ask my colleagues to please vote in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator DeCourt.
24 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 1064 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 187, final reading of House Bill 613, Conference Draft 1, relating to homeless youth.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Zawa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 613 CD1 passes final reading.
On page 55, Conference Committee Report Number 189, final reading of House Bill 431, Conference Draft 1, relating to housing.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and DeCourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 431 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 205, final reading of Senate Bill 1578, Conference Draft 1, relating to international affairs.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Favela. Oh, I'm sorry, McKelvey.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 1578 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 217, final reading of Senate Bill 1249, Conference Draft 1, relating to agriculture.
Is there any discussion? Senator Richards and then Senator DeCourt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Colleagues, SB 1249 is known as the Cranston-Duke-Pia bill. The path of this bill started 14 months ago when Cranston was murdered. His mother came to see me. That started a long conversation that has evolved over the last 14 months and brought us to where we are today. Initially, this bill started out as 3 separate bills. Input from the Attorney General's office, from the Department of Agriculture, and from Department of Law Enforcement. And this has been an exercise in conversation as well as trying to arrive at a common goal of finding a way to really do what we needed to do for agriculture. I gave Cranston's mom my word that I wouldn't let this go. And I have to thank the body here for supporting as we've made it through this. What this bill will do, Attorney General's office had input ramping up the penalties for ag crimes. Department of Agriculture came at it from their perspective with enforcement of some of that, and then Department of Law Enforcement came in with an investigative and enforcement side of that. The combination of these 3 bills has brought forth increasing penalties, while also starting a pilot project for agricultural crimes, crimes against agriculture in our state. And this is brand new for us. We've never done this before. We, as a body, are finally giving credit and acknowledging how important agriculture is to our state. Regrettably, it had to take something as tragic as the loss of Cranston to get this done. What this will do will increase the penalties, it heightens the awareness, and it gives that pilot project. I want to thank all of my colleagues here for getting this done. I want to thank especially WAM Chair Senator Dela Cruz for finding the funding to get this pilot project going. With that, we have some special guests here. I'd like to turn this over to our Chair of Agriculture and Environment, Senator Gabbard.
Senator Gabbard and then Senator DeCourt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in strong support of SB 1249 CD1. Today we are joined by the Ohana and Friends of Cranston Duke Pia, as was mentioned by Senator Richards, a rancher from Makaha who was tragically shot and killed last year while protecting his land. Duke was just 39 years old. Here with us today are his elder brother. If you would just please stand when I call your name. His elder brother, Brant Pia, Calais and Austin Salcido, who are from Kea'au Agricultural Landowners, Mrs. B.J. and Dustin Griffith of Griffith Stock Ranch, Raquel Achiu of Ka'ala Livestock and Makaleha Ranch, Sharon Hurd, Chairperson for the Department of Ag, Brian Miyamoto, Executive Director of the Hawaii Farm Bureau, Mike Lambert, Director of the Department of Law Enforcement, and Representative Chris Muraoka, representing the Waianae Coast. Each of these folks have been working hard to make sure what happened to Duke never happens again. I'd also like to mahalo my Vice Chair, the Senator from District 4 on Hawaii Island, who introduced the bill and was instrumental in helping it get it passed. So please, colleagues, I encourage you to vote aye on this very important measure. Mahalo.
Thank you, Senator DeCourt.
Senate President, in support. Colleagues, I want to begin with a story that reminds us of why this legislation is so desperately needed. On Saturday, February 17th, 2024, what was supposed to be a night of celebration for Cranston Duke Pia turned into an unimaginable tragedy. Duke had planned to surprise his wife with a special birthday dinner, but that night, his life was stolen by poachers who illegally trespassed onto his land. They disregarded his rights, his safety, and his life. Duke's mother heard dogs barking fiercely on their land, a sound she knew too well. Concerned, she went down to see what was happening. What she found was heartbreaking, a mother's biggest fear. She found her son, Duke, had been killed. Duke came into this world in her arms, and he left it the same way. Held tightly by his mother, robbed of his future, and tragically taken. His story is a stark reminder of what can happen when landowners are left vulnerable, when illegal trespassers and poachers believe they can invade private property without consequences. Too often, our ranchers and farmers feel like they are fighting a losing battle, left to defend their land and their livelihoods without sufficient protection. Trespassers who disregard private property rights, who poach, and who threaten lives doing so knowing that current laws and enforcement are inadequate. They threaten not only livestock and income, but also the safety of those who dedicate their lives to this land. Duke was more than just a rancher, he was a pillar of the Waianae community. The Pia Ohana has lived in Waianae for generations. Cranston also owned a business called Grazing Sevens, and he was responsible for feeding thousands of our Waianae residents. He believed in providing access to good quality meat for our people. And he and his family would show up every Saturday at our Waianae Makeke. SB 1249, also known as the Cranston Duke Pia Law, is a crucial step in changing that reality. It strengthens enforcement, establishes clear penalties for trespassing and illegal hunting, and it provides law enforcement with the tools and resources needed to act on the spot. It sends a powerful message to poachers and those who intend to break the law that the legislature values its landowners, its farmers, and its ranchers, and we will protect our lands and hold those who violate them accountable. SB 1249 is a step toward justice, accountability, and safety, an essential move to ensure tragedies like Duke's never happens again. Colleagues, I urge you to support SB 1249. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator DeCourt,
Thank you, Mr. President. In strong support,
please proceed.
First of all, our deepest condolences to the family of Cranston Pia. I think this bill serves as a huge step going forward when we talk about protection. We talk about the very livelihood of those that have been ranching and farming and have been tasked to deal with those based on trespassing and illegal activities. You know, I condemn the Department of Law Enforcement because when we talk about issues such as these that have taken the life of individuals that have served our community and served our community well, this is why we are so strong in support of why we must also, you know, deal with those that have broken the laws and those have not followed suit on holding of firearms legally, professionally, and lawfully. I look forward to working with the rest of my colleagues in shoring up the laws that we need to handle enforcement and those who continue to break the rules as we go forward. Thank you, Mr. President, and again, in strong support.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. SB 1249, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 218, final reading of Senate Bill 825, Conference Draft 1, relating to eviction mediation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes. Senators Awad, DeCourt, and Favela.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Thank you. SB 825, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 219, final reading of Senate Bill 897, Conference Draft 1, relating to energy.
Is there any discussion? Senator Keo Kalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. In opposition,
Please proceed.
I'm deeply concerned, not just about this bill, but about the process that got us here. Because what we are doing here today is wrong, and we all know it. At first glance, this bill looks like it's preventing wildfires and making our grid safer. But we need to be honest about what's really going on, what this bill actually does, and what it risks if it's passed into law. You see, this isn't just a wildfire mitigation bill. It's not just about borrowing authority. Buried in this bill is a provision which was drafted in the shadows, far from public view, over the objections of the chairs who have purview and without the courtesy of prior concurrence on this measure, and included provisions that are reckless, unprecedented, and place our residents in danger of harm. But in fairness, let's start with what's good in this bill. The bill allows Hawaiian Electric to borrow up to $500 million for wildfire mitigation through a process called securitization. The cheapest possible financing for pole replacements, vegetation management, fire detection systems, borrowing money at low interest and saving ratepayers money. That story sells, and we can all get behind it. It's a smart policy. The bill also directs the Public Utilities Commission, the PUC, to study a wildfire victim compensation fund that was originally proposed in this measure. Another good step. But neither of these are what's driving this bill. The real heart of Senate Bill 897 is a sweeping new provision that gives the PUC the unilateral power to cap the utility's liability if it causes another wildfire. And even more concerning, the bill, through rigid provisions designed to manufacture an outcome, requires the PUC to choose between a per-disaster cap on liability or a cap covering any number of disasters that occur during a designated period of time. Let's pause here, because that part is not a detail. It's the core of the bill, inserted in the shadows, at the very end of the legislature. If the PUC chooses to set a cap for a time period, say 10 years, which has been proposed in some conversations. And multiple wildfires happened during that time. The utility could be shielded from full responsibility for all those fires combined. It's crazy. One cap, multiple fires, and a hard limit on how much they owe regardless of the damage. You might be thinking, well, a disaster like Lahaina won't happen again. It was a once-in-a-lifetime event. Try and tell that to anyone that lives in California. After the worst fire in California's history hit, it happened again, and again, and again. Imagine if California had put a 10-year liability cap, like this one, in place after the Camp Fire hit in 2018. That single cap would have had to cover the Dixie Fire in 2021, utility caused, which destroyed over 1,300 homes. The devastating Palisades fires that took place in January of this year, and there would still be 3 years more where any future wildfires would also be lumped into that same limit. They would have blown through the cap after the first disaster, leaving victims of every fire after with nowhere to turn. That's what this bill opens the door to, and it's shocking. This language didn't appear at any point in the bill until last Thursday. And the bill, you can read it on page 6, line 14, presumes the PUC will choose a period of time cap. This is crazy. People are going to be so upset when they find out this happened. And who's going to take responsibility for this provision when the subject matter chairs for this bill are against it? Who's going to step up and take responsibility for this? No other state has gone this far. 14 states are considering addressing liability for wildfires. Not California, not Oregon, not even the ultra-conservative states like Utah, Wyoming, or Idaho. No one has done this. In fact, most states are heading in the opposite direction, moving toward a rebuttable presumption that a utility was not negligent if it followed an approved wildfire plan. 3 states passed that provision in March. We may have an emerging consensus appearing across the country, but we're going to take action before we know that for sure. That provision is actually what HECO asked for last year in Senate Bill 2997. And it's just very different from preemptively capping liability, from fires that haven't happened yet. What incentive does that provide HECO to do better? Is this even legal? Don't know. No testimony was submitted on this from the Attorney General's office because these provisions were inserted 2 weeks after hearings were completed. What does the PUC even think about being required to make these extraordinary decisions that have the force of law? We don't know, because the whole concept was inserted into the bill on Thursday. This is not wildfire prevention. This is a liability shield, tucked inside a bill that otherwise seems reasonable. It's a blatant corporate handout. And we're being asked to make this precedent-setting decision without full awareness of what it really means. Why the urgency? Let me say this clearly. This bill is not a bailout. You bail people out of a crisis. HECO's not in a crisis. They have bad credit. That's the problem. You can survive bad credit. I've had bad credit, and I fixed it. And I didn't fix it with a bailout from the government. I fixed it with time, behavior change, and taking accountability. So let's call this what it is. It's not a bailout, it's a sellout. This bill was originally drafted to protect the people from HECO. Now, it protects HECO from the people. Now let's talk about our role. This bill hands the PUC not just the analysis, but the final decision on whether to grant immunity. That is a serious abdication of our legislative responsibility. On something this consequential, we shouldn't be outsourcing our constitutional authority to an unelected commission. This bill determines policy questions that directly impact the rights of residents. Our constituents didn't send us here to hand over our power. They didn't elect us to farm out our role in this just because we're being rushed or pressured or bullied into it. And they absolutely did not ask us to gamble with their future. We have to ask, is this the best we can do? Is it really the best we can do? Is this fair to the people we serve? Because when the public finds out we passed a bill capping liability and accountability for future wildfires, right when we're about to, here in the next couple minutes, appropriate $800 million in taxpayer funds to settle lawsuits from the last one, they will not understand. They will ask, how could the legislature give away so much with so little in return? And they will be furious. And for HECO, they now have the gall to tell the news last night that they didn't write the bill. This bill might help improve HECO's standing with credit rating agencies. We don't know for sure. They've testified to that. It might help their standing, but it will tarnish their standing with the public, and it will tarnish ours as well. We all want, I'll close with this, we all want a strong, locally controlled utility, one that's resilient, affordable, and invests in prevention. We can have that without giving up our authority, without creating legal protections no other state has dared to adopt, and without haphazardly ramming something through in the 11th hour out of view of public that we're really screwing over on this one. This bill offers a false choice, safety or accountability. We can and must insist on both. As the subject matter chair for this bill, you have tasked me with making recommendations to this body that serve the best interests of the public. My recommendation here is to vote no. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator Elefante,
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in opposition.
please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think the senator from Kaneohe eloquently stated his position. I do share some of the same concerns. However, in particular, he did mention about liability shield. That is a concern. But I think the overarching concern, Mr. President, is really delegating our role to the PUC to 3 members. And while they may have that expertise, I think we're all elected here to make a policy decision and call. And lastly, what's unknown is the cap. It allows the PUC to determine that cap. It could be less or more. And I still have concerns with that. And for those reasons, I'll be voting in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator Lee?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have reservations. And I want to just say a few words, not repeating what's been said here, but I think it's very clear for all of us, not just here in Hawaii, but around the country, constituencies, towns, people, families, businesses are all frustrated with the direction that electricity prices are going writ large, the direction that insurance prices are going to the same tone, and ultimately all of this being driven by the same kinds of wildfire events and similar situations from state to state. And Hawaii obviously is no exception to that. Beyond that, for many decades, it's been clear that there's been a large frustration with accountability and transparency and communication from utilities in general. And especially here in a place where we pay some of the highest costs in the nation and have for a long time because of our reliance on imported volatile fossil fuel costs and prices. That frustration is already at a simmering point, even before we got to Lahaina. That frustration has been driving a lot of the angst and a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the ultimate symptoms of what we keep talking about as our rising cost of living. In places like California and other states that have gone through similar instances of wildfires and other climate-related disasters that have wiped out entire communities and directly led to insolvency for utilities, as well as rising insurance costs and credit rating issues and all the things that fundamentally we've been talking about here for the last 2 years as we've grappled with these bills and the issues with Lahaina and what to do. In those states, often the Public Utilities Commissions have stepped up and led the way. While not having all the answers, certainly just as we don't have all the answers and haven't had them at the outset since the days following Lahaina, in those cases, PUCs took a proactive step forward and said, all right, we're going to try and figure this out while the legislatures and the governors and the other responsible government bodies try and figure out what their role is, what their responsibility is. The Public Utilities Commissions started into a deep dive analysis to figure out what do the options even look like? What does it mean for ratepayers? What does it mean for the utilities who need support? What does it mean for the future of a reliable electric grid? And certainly, what does it mean for cost for your average family? Not just today, not just 5 years from now, but in the future, indefinitely. And how do you address that when you have compounding issues of disaster after disaster after disaster, cost after cost rising over and over again? The utilities commissions in these states have tried to dive in as much as they could to provide those paths and what they could potentially look like as policymakers in their legislative bodies decided what to do. And they didn't get it right. By no stretch of the imagination, they've gone back time and again in places like California to redo the pieces of legislation that they've passed, figuring out what the errors were, what the real life consequences are, and adjusting as time went on. But that was based on real analysis, real deep dive look at what the situation is, and given a number of scenarios that could play out. Here in Hawaii, I think what's most disappointing is that looking backward now, and this is our second year where we've had these issues front and center, debated here on this floor and across the way in the House, our PUC at the time chose not to act, did not do what many other things had done, did not do an immediate response and analysis to complement what was being done by the Attorney General, by the utilities, by the different stakeholders across the way, and certainly by us as we tried to figure out here what our role is and what our responsibility going forward should look like. That's tragic because that abdication of that responsibility and the role that the PUC plays has meant that these conversations end up here, end up in the governor's office, end up here in the legislature, trying to figure out amongst all of us, I think zero of whom, myself included, are technical experts in energy and regulation and policy and all the things that add into credit and finance and banking and all those other mechanisms which all together paint a picture that we've got to be able to decipher in order to make and take meaningful action. It's why we're here today. It's why we have been thrust into this unfortunate situation where we're being asked to make decisions and come up with solutions for problems that are far beyond the scope of what traditional legislators and legislatures around the country are equipped to do. The PUCs from state to state all play similar but slightly varying roles. Ours is no different. Not just with respect to the conversation we're having today, but over time, regulating investor-owned utilities. And this is important because as we think about these conversations as they've played out, there have been a number of influences and a number of drivers pushing from all different sides for different outcomes. In particular, you've got obviously the utilities, and I think fair to say from the part of the public, who have been very much seen as frustrating partners from whom there is no escape. You've got to pay your electric bill. And in many cases with a lot of people, I think ultimately a lack of transparency and a lack of understanding of really what goes on behind the scenes, behind the switch that you turn to put the lights on, behind the bill you pay, what all happens beyond there is a mystery. But here we know a couple things have been true, and this goes far beyond just these past few years. Utilities at the PUC around the country, not just here, but here as well, push as hard as they can because they have a legal obligation and a financial obligation to maximize benefit for shareholders. Full stop. That is their legal obligation of their boards, their executives, and everybody else, no matter how well intended. That means pushing as much as possible for a maximization of revenue that is often based on investment in infrastructure and expenditure of capital, meaning often, and for decades we've seen this, and our own PUC has opined on this several times over the last decade and a half, that the proposals put forward for infrastructure development or redevelopment are often gold-plated, built out more than needs to be so that more money is spent, so that shareholders capture more revenue than might be otherwise necessary, and ultimately that's put into bills that we all pay and feel. There is justification, absolutely, to do more. We obviously have infrastructure that is in great need of fixing, of hardening, of resiliency, of all the things that need to happen. The core of this whole debate here is who pays for it, how much is justifiable, and why. Beyond that, completely separate from that, you've got competing entities looking to come into the market here to buy in as project developers or as folks who are coming in to set up their own shop and take part in the utility process, buying into the utility or taking it over completely in order to maximize their revenue, to maximize their profitability. Nobody's doing it for free. What that means is you've got all of these factors at play simultaneously. And what we're talking about today is one sliver of that, a very big one, no doubt, and one that can have significant impact in the decades to come. But a piece of that, and I raise this because not only are the decisions that we make in this measure consequential, but also the impact felt by whatever comes next through that process, where you have potential investors from out of state looking to acquire HECO or buy parts of it. That could be even more disastrous than we even contemplate, to the tune of billions of dollars added to ratepayer bills because we are investing in stuff that's unnecessary compared to what makes the most sense that is being implemented not only in the plans that are being discussed in some circles, but also in other states and other places by utilities there that are proven to be able to reduce costs. So as we think about all of this, the question comes back to not only the costly assumptions from liability and from what we may or may not be passing here today, but beyond that, what's missing beyond any of, I think, the scope of what we as not technical experts and regulatory experts and policy and finance experts in these fields can see, and certainly not at the PUC, where there has not been this kind of deep dive look, and not at the State Energy Office, which similarly has not taken a deep look at what this whole universe and comprehensive future looks like. We're missing that analysis of what is the lowest common denominator, what is the future we're trying to shoot for, and how much does it cost at its very least. Without that to set a baseline, we are running on an infinite number of assumptions, being influenced by an infinite number of players, each with their own stakeholder agenda. And ultimately for us, trying to figure out how we get beyond a lot of the assumptions that everything we're talking about today is built on, which includes the utilities' plans for investment in wildfires, which includes the PUC's plans for what the future grid looks like, which includes the State Energy Office's plans for where it wants to go. All of these things are almost a decade outdated, based on old technology, old policies, pre-wildfire, pre-climate, all the things that are at the forefront today. When we think about the needs for resiliency and hardening and all of that, no one's got a good grip on that. Each is missing key elements that other states, other places are diving into in depth. I think no matter the path decided here today or at the PUC independently or as a result of this or later, what's missing is a deep, comprehensive look, an independent look at what the future of our grid should look like, independent of the politics of the legislature, of the utility, of the PUC, of the Energy Office, and of all the other stakeholders that have a financial or other similar interest in dictating that outcome. I think the only way to get a good sense of whether we're doing right or wrong by ratepayers in the long term is to have a completely independent and transparent look at all of these questions. That is yet to happen here. I have reservations for a lot of reasons here. I also understand the reason for this bill and why it's moving forward in the first place, which is why I'm voting with reservations. But I hope this is, at the very least, the start of a conversation that takes a much deeper dive into the full situation that's before us, because it is deep. And I hope it spurs all of us to start thinking about how we can put in place the right resources to empower the PUC, to empower other stakeholders, to think beyond the boundaries we've confined ourselves to already, because we are shooting at a predetermined target to a great extent. And the price we pay at the end of the day is continued cost escalation, it's continued frustration from ratepayers, it's continued frustration from everybody all around. And here in the legislature, the price we pay is having to revisit the same issue year after year after year, time after time, in all the different forms it has taken and will take. I raise this as an opportunity to start thinking ahead, and really so that other folks outside this room can hear that there ought to be a broader, independent look that gets beyond all the politics and transparency that's lacking when it comes to all the different stakeholder groups that have their own agendas and issues that are involved in our process. I think everybody here is well-intended. When I say that, knowing there's a ton of people in this process. This is our home, this is our state. We all intend to live here, and we all have responsibility for our families, friends, and neighbors. And we ultimately have responsibility to make sure that we can do what we can as best we can to reduce the prices that they pay, to reduce the frustration they feel, and ultimately lay out a better future. While I don't know whether or not the PUC is capable of doing what is about to be asked of them should this measure pass, I can only hope that this message falls on those ears and others to do something a little bit differently, to look beyond what has been looked at, and to do so proactively, not as a response to something else. We have an opportunity to invest the right way going forward, to harden our grid, to provide more resiliency, to increase our overall capacity on our grid to do more with less. And that means fast-tracking our transition away from what was, getting off of our imported fuels and everything else that exports dollars out of the state, and instead reinvest those dollars in projects right here in Hawaii that will create local jobs, that will create futures, that will create more economic development, and ultimately reduce the cost that we pay for that reliance on that international and outside Hawaii volatile fuel mix. And ultimately, if we can do that right and learn the lessons that other places are implementing right now, which we have yet to see integrated into most of our plans, I think we can do better. We can reduce a lot of that cost, reduce a lot of that risk, reduce the need for even having the question over liability in the first place. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator McKelvey, then Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. Same request, and would like also the words of the previous speaker into the journals if they were my own. It's too
So
long to
ordered.
repeat.
Senator San Buenaventura.
I stand in support with serious
Please proceed.
reservations. Thank you. I echo the concerns of our CPN chair that the process was subverted. And the reason that I'm concerned about that is because we don't know at this late hour what the serious consequences are of our decisions if all of the people, all of the entities who will be affected by this is not heard. I mean, somebody came knocking on my door yesterday, basically saying the insurance companies were not heard on this. And that, to me, is a huge concern, especially after we had just passed the stabilization bill. Stabilization bill requires HPIA to cover a number of our uninsured entities. HPIA is dependent upon existing insurance companies. If we're chasing away insurance companies, that amount of liability, basically falls on less and less entities to the point where we may end up having to absorb it. When we subvert the process, we do not know what the unintended consequences are. I see the need for securitization. I don't understand why we are going against our CPN chair when I know he has done a deep dive into this issue for over a year. I'm a subject matter chair. I expect my colleagues to understand that I know what my subject matter is very well and to take my word on it. I make sure that every hearing takes into account whatever the unintended consequences are so that when my colleagues vote on third reading, they know what the consequences are and they could vote freely knowing that everything has been vetted. When something like this is presented to us in the last minute, I have serious reservations. I see the need for it, and so I will be voting up, and I'm hoping that next session we can fix it and that all the entities, insurance companies, landowners, tortfeasors, are heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Decoit.
Thank you, Mr. President. Major concerns. I'd like to thank the senator from District 24. He raises many good points. Thank you, the senator from District 25. You just got me a little more confused, but I acknowledge your concerns. But asking permission to insert comments to the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you,
Further
Mr. President.
discussion, Senator McKelvey.
Thank you. I know it's my second time. Would just like the words of the speaker from Puna entered in the record as if they were my own, because it reflects a lot of what I'm thinking.
So ordered. Further discussion. If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senators Chang, Fukunaga, Lee, Decoit, Wakai, Rhodes, McKelvey, Kim, San Buenaventura. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa, Elefante, Ihara, Gabbard, and Keohokalole.
20 ayes, 5 noes.
Thank you. SB 897 CD1 passes final reading.
On page 56, Conference Committee Report Number 221, final reading of House Bill 1391, Conference Draft 1 relating to trade.
My notes show that we are to recommit this bill. Is this correct? If there are no objections, then House Bill 1391 CD1 is recommitted. Next item, please.
Conference Committee Report Number 226, final reading of House Bill 879, Conference Draft 1 relating to cesspool conversions.
Is there any discussion, Senator Decourt?
Senate President, in opposition.
Please proceed.
This bill originally aimed to help low and moderate income property owners cover the cost of upgrading or converting their cesspools by increasing the maximum grant from $20,000 to $30,000. It also proposed adding staff to the Department of Health to manage the pilot grant program, but the final version falls short. It only creates one position in the Department of Health. According to the Department of Health cesspool hazard map, Waianae is ranked as priority number 1, the highest contamination risk. Without the $10 million in funding, without the $10 million of funding that this bill was supposed to provide, now Waianae residents are left to shoulder the cost. The state says these cesspool conversions must happen, but my constituents need financial support. Here we find ourselves again with the state over-regulating our communities and not providing the support needed. We don't need extra positions, we need extra finances. And so what's gonna happen is if my residents are not in compliant, they're gonna get fined. What's gonna happen after that is there is gonna be a property revocation. So with those reasons, President, I am voting in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senators Awa and Decourt.
23 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 879 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 228, final reading of House Bill 1168, Conference Draft 1, relating to the University of Hawaii revenue bonds.
Is there any discussion, Senator Rhodes?
Mr. President, can we have a short recess?
No objection, short recess. Will the Senate please come back into order, Madam Clerk?
We're on page 56, Conference Committee Report Number 228, final reading of House Bill 1168, Conference Draft 1, relating to the University of Hawaii revenue bonds.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Decourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1168 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 229, final reading of House Bill 736, Conference Draft 1, relating to wastewater systems.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
$25 ayes.
Thank you. HB 736 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 239, final reading of House Bill 1007, Conference Draft 1, relating to the Hawaii Community Development Authority.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Favela. Any no votes?
25 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1007 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 244, final reading of House Bill 795, Conference Draft 1, relating to the General Fund.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Decourt.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 795 CD1 passes final reading.
On page 57, Conference Committee Report Number 249, final reading of House Bill 1001, Conference Draft 1, relating to settlement of claims related to the Maui wildfires.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1001 CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 253, final reading of House Bill 1482, Conference Draft 1, relating to controlled substances.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Gabbard. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa and Decourt.
22 ayes, 2 noes.
Thank you. HB 1482, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 255, final reading of House Bill 302, Conference Draft 1 relating to cannabis.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 302, CD1 passes final reading.
We are turning back to the end of calendar item, which was on page 36. Conference Committee Report Number 215, final reading of House Bill 958, Conference Draft 1 relating to transportation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations, Senator Rhodes. Any no votes? No votes, Senator Awa.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 2958. Is there a conference draft on that, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
CD1 passes final reading. Yes.
Referrals and re-referrals.
Referrals and re-referrals are made in accordance with the supplemental orders of the day that may be filed later today.
On page 58, miscellaneous communication number 2 from the Honorable Ronald D. Kochi, President of the Senate, and Honorable Nadine K. Nakamura, Speaker of the House of Representatives, dated April 26, 2025, transmitting a legislative communication extending the filing deadline for conference committee reports and conference drafts from 11:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m.
File.
Beginning on page 58, miscellaneous business.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCR numbers 12 SD1, 180 SD1, and 197 SD1, and agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The amendments made to these resolutions were cleanup and aligned with the intent of the resolutions and did not change the underlying substance.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. One-day notice is hereby given for final adoption of SCR 12 HD1, SCR 180 HD1, and SCR 197 HD1. Senator Chang.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCR 60 SD1 and agree to the said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Chang.
The House draft refers to the efforts of the Affordable Housing Land Inventory Task Force and removes some language identifying specific AMI levels in the preamble, and these amendments are acceptable to us.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. One-day notice is hereby given for final adoption of SCR 60 HD1. Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCR 86 SD1 and agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator San Buenaventura.
The amendments made by the House were minor in nature, and the advocates wish that the working group move as amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. One-day notice is hereby given for final adoption of SCR 86 HD1. Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCR 115 and agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Senator Gabbard.
Yes, Mr. President, we're agreeing to the House amendments that were technical in nature.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, motion is carried. One-day notice is hereby given for final adoption of SCR 115 HD1. Senator Keoho Kalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCR 123 SD1 and agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Keoho Kalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House amendments were fine. They added some scope and objectives to the working group. We should pass this working group. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. One-day notice is hereby given for final adoption of SCR 123 HD1.
No further business, Mr. President.
If not, the chair has one announcement. All senators are to meet in the majority caucus room immediately after session. Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. on Friday, May 2nd.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. If there are no objections from the members, the Senate will stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. on Friday.